My name is Cassidy Biss, and today I'm going to help you become familiar with the safety procedures, maintenance, and operation of the Kenco barrier lifter. Some terms that you will want to know before we begin are pad angles, the pads, pad bolts, pivot bolts, the actuator, the bolted end of the actuator, and the latched end of the actuator. Also, the receiver. First, we will cover some basic safety procedures. Wear appropriate clothing and related safety equipment. Protective glasses, a hard hat, protective shoes, hearing protection, and any other equipment or devices dictated by your job conditions. Do not wear loose clothing or jewelry that could become entangled in the barrier lifter or the rigging hardware. Maintain a safe distance from the load. Never allow barrier lifter or wall to pass above any part of a person. Do not use a barrier lifter that has been altered accidentally or intentionally in any way without inspection by qualified personnel. Next, we will cover initial setup procedures. Check the lifter visually for obvious signs of damage. Check the pad bolts to ensure snugness. Do not over-tighten the pad pivot bolts. The pad angles must be able to pivot. You should grease the lifter at these points on both sides. Do not grease the actuator. Use a light coat of penetrating oil. We will now cover the important aspects of maintenance on your barrier lifter and performing inspections. Visually inspect the lifter every day for signs of stress or wear. Check to make sure the pad bolts and nuts are snug. Make sure the pad angles pivot freely and there is no debris that may jam the pad angles or lower legs. Check to make sure the warning labels are present and readable. For automatic units, check the actuator bolts for looseness. Check the latching end of the actuator for wear and alignment with its receiver block. You should grease the barrier lifter every 200 to 400 lift cycles depending on your work environment. Pads will need to be replaced if you notice any of these items during your inspections. 1/2 inch minimum thickness. If bolt heads contact the barrier surface. If pads become separated from the steel backing plate. Or if slippage occurs. When you replace the pads, make sure that it is flush with the mounting surface and that the holes align. The pad may need to be rotated 180 degrees for the holes to align. Keep the urethane side facing out. Finally, we will cover how to properly operate the Kenco barrier lift. First, attach the lifter to the hoist. Where possible, attach the lifter directly to the hook block of the hoist. If it's necessary to use slings or shackles, make certain that they are equal or greater than the capacity of the intended application. Under no circumstances should any component used as rigging to the lifter be a capacity that is less than the lifter. Before using a lifter, make sure the pads are free of contaminants such as grease, dust, etc. Make sure the wall is free of any defects that could compromise its structural integrity. Remove any debris and dirt from the area of pad contact. Do not exceed the rated capacity of the hoist, the lifter, or the rigging components. With the automatic lifter, we position the lifter near the center of the barrier wall section. Be sure that the pads align properly against the wall to provide full surface contact. Lower the lifter onto the wall, taking care to minimize the impact. Release the tension on the lift cable to latch the actuator in the open position. Raise the lifter and load the wall smoothly. Do not jerk the wall. Deposit the wall at the desired location. Release the tension on the lift cable. Try to avoid slamming the lifter into the open position. This will prolong the life of the actuator. Raise the lifter from the wall. It will be latched in the open position automatically and ready to pick up the next barrier wall. For barrier lifters with semi-automatic operation, position the lifter at or near the center of the section of barrier wall. Lower the lifter onto the barrier wall. Again, take care to minimize impact. Release tension on the lift cable. Have an assistant lift the handle. Raise the lifter and its load in a smooth motion. Do not jerk. Set the wall at its desired location. Release tension on the lift cable. Raise the lifter from the barrier wall. The handle is dropped and the lifter is latched in the open position automatically. You're ready to pick up the next section of wall. Always remember to avoid jarring, swinging, or any unnecessary manipulation of the load. Do not pick loads off center. Do not drag barrier wall. Do not try to pick up or grab non-uniform surfaces. Do not try to use it to move any items other than barrier wall that is within the specified capacity of the Kenco barrier lifter. Finally, observe all safety practices associated with operating any hoist equipment. You, as the operator, are best insurance for safe handling and operation of the Kenco barrier lifter. Thank you.